everybody, and welcome back to the 5 O'Clock Sweats podcast. As always, I'm Ryan, joined by my good friends.
I'm Derick.
And I'm Chris.
And I'm Roman Mars.
I don't get it.
Podcast favorite baby, Roman. Anyway.
Whatever. Right over my head.
You said whatever.
Ignore that. But anyway, so
Roman Mars.
I'm gonna have to Google who this is. I don't know what that is. All right, so tonight, whatever, we're just gonna have a discussion, basically, about whatever we want to talk about. As of recording, it is a dreary Sunday night. At least on my end, the rain outside is falling, the winds are blowing, and my fantasy team's in absolute shambles right now. I'm not pressing the panic button yet, but when we last recorded a fantasy football episode, and I was feeling good about my team. We were flying high, first place, number one in points, and since then, we've kind of fallen off a cliff. And this week in particular felt like the fantasy gods had it out for me. I don't know what I did to anger them, but I don't know. They had it out for me this week. I mean, injury-wise, I was down, Isaiah Pacheco, who's been a stud recently. Chris, you can relate. Tyreek Hill ruled out, game time decision.
Yeah.
It was his decision, apparently. He ruled himself out. So, the guy clearly doesn't care about our fantasy teams, which is just so selfish of him. Like, I can't even get over that. Jalen Hurts, officially questionable with a unknown illness, so much so they had to fly in a separate charter plane to not get his teammates sick. So we'll see. I think he's going to play. Keenan Allen didn't play for me this week. So literally like my top three guys in scoring this year all either aren't playing or are questionable. And this week was just an utter shit show as of right now. I'm losing pretty badly. I've barely cracked 50 points. So it's been bad. I'm starting Adam Thielen, starting Ezekiel Elliott, which I didn't have that in my bingo card this year. And Derrick Henry, man, like the guy scored 6 touchdowns in 3 games, like leading up to this. And today, a resounding 16 carries for 9 yards.
Wow.
No touchdowns.
That's impressive.
Yeah. The guy had like 20 catches and like, I don't know, a combined like 5 scrimmage yards. Like no, it doesn't make sense, but at least like under 20 scrimmage yards because he had like 3 catches for like a negative yard. Like, great. So yeah, not good on the fantasy end, but what makes everything better is watching the Cowboys lose, and they got their asses handed to them by the Buffalo Bills this afternoon, which made me very, very happy and kind of eased the pain, my fantasy pain a little bit, and just football pain in general because the Eagles aren't doing too hot right now. But, we'll see how that goes. But anyway, I just wanted to get that off my chest because it's been on my mind. But the big thing I want to talk about this week, and I know I've mentioned it to you guys how much I'm obsessed with this movie that I saw recently, but boy, oh boy, I saw Godzilla Minus One, not once, but twice in the theater.
Ooh, that tracks for you.
It does.
I understand. But
when I like a movie in the theater, I will spend money to see it multiple times. I can't remember the last movie I saw multiple times in the theater. I think it might have been a Marvel movie, and I forget which one exactly. But yeah, the movie just grabbed me, and I was honestly like skeptical because it was getting so much praise, and I'm like, is this going to be overhyped? Like, am I just setting my bar way too high for this movie? But I bought a ticket for a 10:30 IMAX showing, 10:30 at night on a Friday. I went there. I took a enhancer, if you want to call it that, and sat in my chair. And I don't know if you guys have ever experienced an error at the movie theater where like the movie doesn't start, but we had we
What-
had
what
we had a
theaters
situ-
are you going to, my man?
this was the IMAX theater in the local theater. Like, it's a nice theater, but I don't know what happened. I mean, I know it was like there weren't a lot of people in the theater. It was like a late night showing, but yeah, the previews, like the Regal stuff they show, like all the pre movie shit before the previews start played, and then the screen went to black, and I'm thinking like, okay, well, it's about to play the previews. Nothing happened for like 20 minutes. We're
So
just
were you
sitting
just
there.
sitting in a dark theater?
We're just sitting on dark theater, and then like people are like, I can hear people like murmuring in the back, and they're like, "Where's the movie? What's happening? This doesn't seem right." And then one hero just stood up. He was like, "I will get help." So he walks out of the theater, comes back like 5 minutes later. He's like, "They're working on it." And then like 2 minutes later, the previews start. At this point, the movie's supposed to start at 10:30. It's now 11.
Yeah.
And then the IMAX previews start. And IMAX previews are like 20 minutes long. They have to play 20 minutes of previews. So the movie didn't, literally an hour after the showtime, basically, I finally got to get started on Godzilla Minus One. And boy, was it worth the wait. This movie is just a masterpiece. It really is. And I never thought I'd say that about a Godzilla movie. But this movie is just like, it just grabbed me in such like an unexpected way, mainly because of the human characters, which is something that like all Godzilla or monster movies usually aren't too great at. Like Cloverfield did a decent job with their human characters, but Godzilla, that franchise is like notoriously known for having very forgettable or like not well written characters, like human characters. But this one, like, they absolutely just, they grab you by the heartstrings. Like, you care about every single human in this movie, and it's crazy, and it just enhances the whole movie. Because when Godzilla starts wrecking shit, which he does a lot, and it's beautiful, you care about the humans. You're like, oh god, I hope none of them get stomped on. I hope none of them have anything fall on them. I hope they make it out okay. And that is just such an achievement for a Godzilla movie. On top of that, like the Godzilla scenes themselves, I mean, I know it's been talked about to exhaustion, but this movie had a $15 million budget, give or take. Apparently it was less than that. It's probably close to like 13 million per the creator of the movie. But the visuals look stunning. Like, the CGI is pretty damn good and consistent throughout most of the movie. In particular, particularly the water scenes. And like the water scenes in this movie, and I don't know if you're familiar with Godzilla, but he spends a lot of time in the water, can swim really quickly. So I'm getting like hardcore Jaws vibes from all the water scenes in the movie, and they actually make like direct references to Jaws, which I really appreciated.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was pretty sick. But yeah, I mean, the CGI looks as good as like these 150 to $200 million Marvel movies that are releasing now, if not better. Which is super impressive. But yeah, I mean, the movie just has the emotion of the movie, and it has like a lot of like grim imagery and like a really consistent message of like survival and like finding something in life to live for. And I just didn't expect to feel all these emotions in a Godzilla movie. And even so much so that towards the end, I got choked up and I may have shed a tear or two. It really just hits you. But damn, this movie's so good, and it's in subtitles, which is not for everybody. Like foreign films are for everybody. People don't want to read when you go see a movie, but as an avid anime watcher, I watch a lot of sub anime, so I'm used to reading subtitles. And Derick, I think eventually when I make you watch this movie, you will feel right at home. Really, the only
what's that supposed to mean, dog? Whoa, that's crazy.
Yo,
saying that to the guy in a very Asian hat.
That is a red flag.
Wow,
dude. Well, I just insinuating that you watch a lot of anime, not because you're Asian, just because you're a fan of anime, and you're gonna be used to the subtitles. Don't take it out of context. That's all I meant by it. I swear.
Yeah, you are not the first person I've heard rave about this movie. Or well, no, you were the first person that I heard rave about this movie. And then a second person raved about it to me. And
Oh,
then
yeah?
now you are the third person to re-rave about it to me. And
It's a sign.
I hear it's just fantastic. So I did decide, I think, after we talked, that I was going to try to watch it at the local theater here, but did not get a chance to look into that. It is something that I want to watch, though. I hear it's just fantastically well made.
Yeah, it's just it lives up to the hype and then some. Like Rotten Tomato scores are usually like there's a disparity between the critic score and then like the audience score. It's got like a 97% critic score and then a 98% audience score, which is unheard of. Like that doesn't really happen. But and this is definitely a movie, and I implore anyone who can and has time to go see it in the theater because it is a theater movie. Like the sound design, the music, obviously the scale of the destruction and the action on scene on the screen just is better and more immersive on the big screen. So if I saw an IMAX, I think that's probably the best way to see it. But even just I saw it a second time just in a regular theater, and yeah, it's definitely an experience. It's like Oppenheimer, kind of like it's worth seeing in the theater. Like pay the money if you can, go see it in the theater, support it. I think they're extending the theater runtime or the theatrical release until I guess up until Christmas, maybe a little after, because it just people just keep seeing this movie. I don't know the amount of money it's made, but I know it's incredibly profitable based off of the budget. So yeah, I mean, I can't stop talking about this movie. I mean, I think about it at least once a day. My YouTube algorithm is all Godzilla analysis and reviews because that's all I've really been watching recently. I just love seeing people gush over this movie. It kind of vindicates me a little bit, just makes me feel good. And yeah, I'm excited to watch this again in the future, and I'm excited to eventually watch it with Derick because I know he'll love it. And Chris, I even think you'll love it, and you might even be able to get the wife to watch it because I brought my girlfriend, and she really liked it too. And she has no affiliation to Godzilla or anything. Like, she's really not really into that kind of stuff. So, yeah,
Yeah. I'm certainly not opposed to seeing it. I just I've not really watched much Godzilla just in general. And I was looking up some kind of screenshots from it. So is like, can you tell me what the hell the title is? Like, why is it -1? You said something
Yeah.
to me the other night, and I don't remember exactly what the explanation was. I don't know what that means.
yeah. So the title -1. So the movie takes place like right at the end of World War II in Japan. They are reeling from the H bomb and the like all the bombings in general. So they've been decimated from the war. So the idea with the title is that after the war they were at zero. They started at nothing. They had nothing after the war. Then Godzilla comes and now they have less than nothing. So that's why it's -1. So
I
yeah.
hate that. I don't understand. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I also don't get how that translates to like the whole title. But anyway, the Godzilla looks pretty cool. I know in like every Godzilla movie, there's a pretty drastic difference in the appearance of Godzilla, at least in like I guess recent movies. But yeah, it looks pretty intimidating. And there's like I saw a screenshot, and I think this is what you're talking about of Godzilla in the water and like his head peeking
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
That is kind of like eerie.
Yeah. No, I love his design. It's like kind of a blend of like the old school Godzilla design with a couple of,
Yeah.
unique and original takes. Like he's got like spikes on his elbows, which are pretty sick.
Yeah. I think it's like important, like not to go too far into like the dinosaur vibe. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you got to have to like balance that line, and it looks pretty cool. So I'm sure I'll check it out. Subtitles depends. I've watched a lot of shows with subtitles, but I've also been turned away from a lot of things with subtitles. But I think I might feel at home with this one as well.
Oh, well, I wonder why. I'm kidding.
Wow. Wow.
That's
man.
2 strikes.
Yeah, it's good. I was going to say something. I don't remember what I was going to say. But yeah, you should see it. Everyone see this movie.
Now,
Please.
I have to ask, because I know that you do this, and you were talking about this, but how can you watch a movie multiple times in the theater? And so listen, I've watched plenty of movies multiple times, but never so close that they're like still, you know what I mean? That it's like still in the theater, which would be like within a week of it, or so, a week or two. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, doesn't it take away like just having seen it and like knowing like every detail about it, or like what is it? You know what I mean? I'm just curious, like what gets you to come back so soon to watch a movie?
Yeah, it's just like it's kind of like when you get a song stuck in your head and you just got to keep listening to it. Like I saw the movie and I was also late. Like I said, I took an enhancer, which did enhance it. But also like maybe I wasn't as quite as focused, perhaps. But a movie like this, like if it's stuck in my head, and it's one of those movies where if you see it a second time, you pick up on some like little details, that kind of add to the overall experience. So there's definitely some things in this movie, like little hints sprinkled throughout the movie that give clues maybe and whatnot to the conclusion, which is pretty cool. So I definitely enjoyed it the second time more than the first time, which is usually the case with movies that I decide to see twice.
Yeah. I just think it's interesting because I think like action movies have a lot of rewatchability, but I find like a lot of movies like dramas or suspense movies where there's like a big twist at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like those movies I can't watch too many times because like once you already know where it's going, all the buildup is kind of like, null and void. So I think there's certain genres of movies that I can't watch, too many times over. And, there's not many movies that I'll only watch once and never again, unless it's like total garbage. But I was just kind of curious as to what can bring you back to the theater so soon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a sucker for a good Godzilla movie. But again, like little details sprinkled out the movie that just make me appreciate it even more.
Gotcha.
And it even made like I became like I haven't really seen a lot of the older Godzillas. Like I've seen some of them growing up, like some of the really corny ones where he's just fighting random monsters and like shoving trees down their throats. Although I think King Kong shoves a tree down Godzilla's throat when they fight in like the old 60s movie. But I watched the original 1954 Godzilla, which was the very first Godzilla movie to ever come out. And it's dated, obviously, like the special effects. There's a lot of like miniatures that are literal props that they try to add for scale and whatnot. So it looks dated. It's black and white and everything, which I don't really mind, but it's good. Like it was a good monster movie for 54. Like that thing would have terrified me if I had been growing up watching that when I was back in that day. Like that's crazy. But yeah,
it's also kind of interesting too how like how they were able to like kind of present like the scale of Godzilla like back like I know they used like a lot of miniatures and like the sets were like like handmade and what I mean like it's kind of almost like some like puppeteering so like some pretty low budge stuff but I think that's pretty interesting. It's also funny too, like as a kid growing up watching a lot of Power Rangers, obviously like that stemmed like from like the Japanese versions. It's like the exact same like style, in terms of how they like make it, where like the monsters are like way bigger than anything else.
Yeah.
On the screen, and it's like clearly like a guy in a costume, and like some cardboard buildings in the background.
Yep. Yeah, there's plenty of that. There's some charm with those guy in a suit Godzilla movies. Like I kind of want there to be a modern Godzilla, like one made now with the guy in a suit and just like some crazy special effects around that. I don't know. I think that'd be. You want to do it? You want to get? You want to get a? All right, I'll get a Godzilla costume. You get? I don't know. Get a Mecha Godzilla costume or something.
We'll put it on Kickstarter. We'll get it funded.
Yeah,
and then we'll make the worst, best movie you've ever seen.
Yeah, you'll be the producer.
Wait, why am I the producer?
I don't know. You're talking like a producer right now.
See,
Let
I
me
feel
guess.
like
You're going to
because I'm
cast me as every citizen of Tokyo, huh?
Well, unless you what? Do you want to
Wow.
act in the movie?
Yeah, I knew it, man.
jeez, man.
Every time there's a reaction to Godzilla, it's just Derek's face. It's like we'll give him like a fake mustache or like a wig or something to change it up
Oh
once in a while.
God. All right. Settle down.
All right. Well, that is my spiel on Godzilla. My message to everybody again: see this movie. I implore you, even if you're not a Godzilla fan, if you just like good movies, this is really gonna scratch that itch for you. It's got really everything you ever want in a movie: action, emotion, laughs, heart, everything. It checks all the boxes. Please see it. End of rant.
Oh. Hell yeah, I am down.
All right, so I guess I'll go next, kind of with my bit here. I know what's really been weighing on me is football, but I'm not going to talk about it. Not even going to bring it up. All right, we're going to move on to a more positive, constructive topic, at least for me. And I'd like to talk about Warzone, or as we're calling it now, Warzone 3. This is now, like our fourth iteration, so to speak, of Warzone, or integration, should I say. There's been many versions of Warzone, which is, I guess, been a good and bad thing in a lot of different ways. But the new map, Urzikstan, it's the new big map. So for you guys who are not big Warzone guys, you might not know this, but the map is about 20% smaller than the previous map in Warzone 2, which would be Al Mazrah. And they also lowered the player count down from, I think it was 150 in Al Mazrah to 100. So a pretty significant cut in players. Now, my understanding is that was to improve performance, so to speak, both in terms of frames, server issues, and, there were a lot of problems happening with that high player count on that large of a map. So I think they're trying to prioritize that a little bit more. And then I think that they can scale the player count up as, they kind of make sure things are stable. But that's kind of where it is now. The map is, I'd actually say the map is quite good. The only downside to it, and I just think this is kind of the design that they're going for these days, but it's just a ton of buildings. And I mean a ton of buildings. Like, the POIs, unfortunately, they don't have a lot of like personality. They all kind of feel very similar. It's just a lot of buildings in each POI. Whereas if you look at like Verdansk, for example, there was a lot of open areas there, and the POIs felt very much like their own areas. You could really tell that that was like a combination of different Call of Duty maps put together, because, they were literally just like spaced out and kind of slapped together. But it sort of worked a little bit better, in my opinion. The problem I have with this map is like, because there's so many buildings, there's, 45 entrances to every building. There's 99 windows, right? So there's, you can't really hold buildings down too well because there's so many ways to get, in and to the roof. And then, there's a lot of, there's always people above you, right? Everyone just kind of sits on the rooftop. So, positioning high ground is key, which that's true in every battle royale, but it's not always literally like a rooftop. It could just mean, being higher up on a hill.
Right.
But in this map, it's predominantly roofs. So that's a little bit of a gripe I have, but overall, I do like the map. The movement, I think, is the biggest selling point for me. It is more akin to like Warzone 1, where you could traverse the map quite fast. You had slide canceling. You could outmaneuver people and outplay people, which they took away entirely in Warzone 2. And so that's something that I'm really pleased to see. There's a ton of perks that are already baked in. So like by default, you have a bunch of perks that are already just applied to everybody in Warzone to make you kind of, mantle and run faster and climb faster, stuff like that. So that's great too, because they're acknowledging that, we want, even casual people want to feel like they can move. Nobody wants to play a game, at least in this day and age, where you feel stuck in the mud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I
Yeah, you
wanted
can't.
like a tactical shooter, exactly, I could go play that. But Call of Duty is what it is. It's an arcade shooter. Like, so I want to be zooming, you know? I want to be zooming. So, they've taken a lot of quality of life things and put them into this version. They have the redeploy balloons so you can, rotate real fast. They sort of tried to fix the gas mask situation, but it's still pretty shitty. So before there used to be an on-off animation as you went in and out of the gas.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you would die because you get stuck like doing this and then you could only hip fire your gun. Yeah. So now when you pick up a gas mask and put it on, it stays on. But the problem is it obstructs your vision because it gives you like this, like you're wearing a real gas mask. But like, who the hell wants that? Right? I'm playing a video game. If I want to wear a gas mask, I just put a fucking gas mask on. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
I want to see, bro. So they've sort of like, in trying to fix a problem, they like overly complicated the solution, kind of. You could just have a gas mask that's just on, but doesn't change your view. Like, or just, whatever. I don't know. I don't think everything needs to be like this hyper realistic feel. And that's where COD struggles, I think, right now with its identity, is there's a lot of parts that are like really diving into the arcadey portion of it, but then there's a lot of bits that are still like rooted in trying to be realistic. And I think those two things conflict a lot. And, I think it can take away from the experience. But overall, I'm having a lot of fun. And I don't think it's just because it's new. Like, I actually feel like better like in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Warzone 2 was just a disaster, and a lot of changes and decisions that nobody really wanted. I think ultimately, the frustrating thing is like, in Warzone 1 we took 5 steps forward. Warzone 2 we took like 10 back, and then with this we took another 5 steps forward. So now we're just like at square one again. You know what I mean? So we haven't really innovated too far or too much because we've spent so much time, basically, reworking the things that they changed. Like, we're taking them out. And I just hate when games do that,
Right.
It's like they just can't put their finger on what is successful about it. And then like in the sequels and iterations to come, they make these just boneheaded changes. And I'm sure they all have to do with, money and player retention and all that all those metrics. But I think they saw in Warzone 2 it backfired because, the player count there was pretty atrocious, especially towards the end.
Yeah, the commentary around Warzone is definitely more positive than it was. I know they dug themselves a huge hole with Warzone 2, so it's gonna take a while for Warzone to kind of get back into the good graces of the public. I think doesn't help that Fortnite's absolutely killing it right now.
That's true.
The competition is definitely there, but yeah, I'm happy to see that people are enjoying the new Warzone. The main two things the main thing recently has been those damn akimbo slugs or whatever they're called, the dual pistols that are like one tapping people.
The snake shot, yeah. So that's fixed, like we talked about. So they fixed that. The other issue with the akimbos is that they were doing both pistols in that situation were doing their full damage each. Therefore, it was literally like doubling damage, which in real life makes sense, right? Because they're both the same.
Yeah.
But in a game, that's highly unbalanced. So they had to reduce that as well because you get one shot.
That's
These dual pistols, and it's just not a good experience. And you talk about wanting to keep players around. Well, people aren't going to like stick around for that kind of shit. Like, the ones shitting on people are having fun, but the ones getting shit on, which is probably a large majority of people, are not having fun with that. So,
Dude,
they're quick to fix that, but not quick to fix a lot of other things. I think the biggest problem I have with it right now is I don't think the servers have ever been worse, in my opinion. The number of like lag servers we get where you're actually like players, I'm shooting at a guy and he's like sort of like teleporting.
Yeah, I've seen clips of that.
That's BS. And then the desync is pretty wild.
Good old
And a
ding,
lot of times
old
where
desync.
you'll run behind cover, like on your screen, right? It's like
Yep.
server side issues, right? Client side issues where, I'm behind cover, but then I die. But like on this guy's screen, I was still like 10 feet out from cover. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Um, and you're getting a lot of like weird hit reg. A lot of games have seen this, but it's so on your screen you'll dump like a mag into somebody and they won't go down. But then on your end, what you see is like 2 shots and you're dead. So you have no reaction time. But you watch the kill cam and they were shooting you just as long as well. And you get these kind of bullets where it's like they're super bullets, right? Because the
Yeah.
server tick rate is so slow that all of a sudden it you take like the damage of 3 bullets in one.
Yeah, in one take. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, COD, this has been an issue with COD forever. I mean, they run on like 20 hertz servers. It's like, there's probably somebody in the back like churning the fucking thing, churning the butter for the servers.
They got to buy more mice on their wheels. No, it's funny. Well, listen, as a Halo Infinite fan and player, like I am very, very familiar with desync. Unfortunately, but Halo actually is overhauling their entire networking system, and they released like a prototype of it, I guess, in their new Firefly playlist, and then they just introduced the new networking model in PvP, in one playlist just for people to try it and see how it feels, and they're gathering feedback, and it feels a lot better. So, if 343 can fix their desync, I'm sure that Call of Duty can fix their desync problem.
See, to me, it's not a can they? It's are they willing to? I mean, it's another one of those business things where it's like, how shitty can we make it? Like just to the point where they'll keep buying it and keep playing it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like it's shitty, but it's not shitty enough to make people stop playing. You know what I mean? So what incentive do they have? I mean, as a player, obviously I know what the incentive is, but from a suit standpoint, probably not a lot of incentive. And like you just said, 343 is overhauling, right? That's a scary word for businesses to hear. I mean, that's a lot of investment in a lot of back end shit that most people have no idea what goes into that, myself included. But, we only see what, the end product. But I think it's something that they need to address eventually. And, I think we see this in a lot of games, kind of like Halo 2, right? Where, these engines are like 10, 15-year-old game engines that they update and update and update. But like until you really move to a brand new engine, which is got a lot of challenges in and of itself, you're limited in what you can do.
I'm just convinced every game should be on the Unreal 5 engine. I just feel like that's the best engine out right now.
Here's the thing with that though, right? Like it sounds like, oh, just use this new engine. But I mean, you have like thousands and thousands of employees that are adept, with certain programs and certain assets on certain engines. And, you switch that over and shit starts to change, and there's a learning curve, I'm sure, to a new engine, things that change. And, I think the other thing is too, there's a huge cost to that, right? How many, you can't tell me that Call of Duty doesn't just like take the last version, you know what I mean, import it and then start tweaking from there. Like they don't build from the ground up at all.
Well,
right? So there's a lot of time and money with, these assets are reused heavily. And so I just, I think switching engines is ultimately a better move, but I think from a business standpoint, it's probably like a scary thought.
Listen, they could if they wanted to, but they're committed to this yearly release cadence they've got going right now. Although I did hear that they may be revisiting that and maybe looking into like buy yearly, or I don't know.
So here's the thing. But, I don't see it happening. I think it would be better. Like it would yield a better product, but I don't think that matters because what they saw this year is that they can still hit their numbers, even with a game that was made in 8 months. You know what I mean?
I was shocked to see that. I think I saw a list of the top 5 most like highest selling games this year, and Modern Warfare 3 was like number 3 on the list. I was like
absolutely
shocked. I was shocked only because of like the reception. What was that? What was that face for? Was I loud?
What's up?
No, I saw Derick, your face when I started talking. Am I loud again or something?
Oh no, my voice cracked.
Oh, I didn't even hear it. Sorry. Yeah. No, what was I saying? I forget what I was saying.
Well, no, I agree. I mean, you were basically saying that like COD was still hitting their numbers, and they
Yeah.
are, and it is. They're a brand more than a product. So everyone's going to line up to buy it. I'm no different. You know, I've played it for the last 15 plus years. Like, I look forward to it. And to be honest with you, I like this COD.
That's okay.
And
Yeah,
because
you're allowed to like
Hot
it.
take.
it fixed what Modern Warfare 2 screwed up, in my opinion. This is what we should have got last year.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think multiplayer wise, it's good. Like I enjoyed playing. I've been playing it. The free trial that they offered this weekend. Like I've been playing it. We played a few games together. Like I think the multiplayer, it's probably the best feeling multiplayer that they've released in a while. Definitely since 2019's Modern Warfare, which I liked a lot. I played a crap ton of that game. But yeah, I think the changes they made to the movement and the TTK, time to kill, have definitely benefited the game. And having the old maps back, like it's cool. It's nostalgic. You know,
So that's what I wanted to say. It blows my mind how they overcomplicate everything, right? Like for a company that wants to reuse and recycle so much, we like want them to do that. We want old maps back. We want Verdansk, the OG Warzone map back, right?
Mhm.
We want the old gun. Like we want all that shit again,
yeah,
right? But they won't do that. But then they'll rehaul, like, you know, or overhaul, excuse me, all this other shit that nobody asked them to and nobody wanted them to, right? And then it's just like they make the devs work harder, they piss them off, and then they piss the players off because like nobody's getting what they want, so to speak. So that's why I think this game succeeded a little bit more in that sense is, you know, they put old maps in.
Yeah, we talked about that when we had our Call of Duty episode a while back. Yeah, I think like gamers yearn for the golden day, like the golden years of gaming, which was like obviously like that 2007 to like I don't know 2012 kind of time frame. So getting those maps back, like it definitely like the nostalgia is a selling point, and people are suckers for nostalgia. Like I know if Halo did the same thing, people would go bananas.
Exactly.
In a good way.
You know what's great too is like finally I got a new COD game where I could jump in and I was zooming around the maps. Right?
Yeah,
I could just have fun playing and I wasn't like, you know, getting lost in this overly complex piece of shit map. You know. And they're tested maps. They've had years and years and years and years of play. They're tested. You know what I mean? Like they're tried and true. Like just use it again. You know, and they sprinkled in a couple new maps, which is great. And I just don't see an issue with that.
Yeah, definitely not an issue. I mean, obviously, you don't want this to be a trend. Like you want original maps that can eventually become classic maps, hopefully in the future. But a game like Call of Duty, like just stick to the 3-lane like design. Like that's all you need to do. Like don't overcomplicate things. Like 3 lanes, it's all you need in a Call of Duty game. Just make it look nice and I don't know, add some cool features around the map, I guess. But 3 lanes, keep it simple.
There was like a generation a couple years ago of like the haters saying like, oh, it's more 3-lane bullshit. So then they're like, okay, now we're trying to get away from the 3-lane map, asymmetrical maps. And then everyone's like, oh, these suck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's a reason 3-lane was the way to go because it's symmetrical, right? And like it was more balanced, not these convoluted, you know, original maps that they come up with. So part of it is the community not knowing what they want. I mean, you could give them everything they ask for and like we would still be pissed somehow. So that's part of it too. But, you know, in a nutshell, I'm having a blast. You know, I'm grinding like a shit ton of camos more than I ever have in multiplayer. And then, you know, really liking Warzone. I think we have a good foundation this year for Warzone. So I'm hoping that, you know, the changes that keep coming over the next year or so just, you know, make the experience that much better.
Yeah, they just gotta listen. I mean, they gotta listen to the community. Just take the community's feedback and then make the necessary changes. Like you're a live service game, and they have to do that. Like if Warzone wants to keep up with like Fortnite, Apex is kind of falling off a little bit, population wise, I think. But even Apex and whatever other games come out in the future. Like they need to just keep making necessary changes, listen to the community, and yeah, I just because I want COD to succeed. Like if COD's successful and good, that's good news for gamers and gaming in general.
Well, it's good
Oh,
for
for
everyone.
sure.
Competition is great. And I think,
Exactly.
I know we've all played Fortnite on and off, and like they just make shit fun, right? Fortnite doesn't take itself too seriously, and I think all games need to see that. Games are to be fun. You want the money to come in, make a game so fun that I can't put it down. You know what I mean? Stop trying to force feed like microtransactions and all your manipulative bullshit, you know what I mean, to keep people engaged and to keep their eyes over there. And, you know what I mean? Screw all that. Make it fun. And like all that other stuff will fall into place. And I think, Call of Duty, unfortunately, Activision's a bunch of.
Yeah.
And so I think, there's obviously, problems with, that. But I just think if you can focus on fun, that's what a game is, right? And that's how games have made their money, is being fun. But I think the other thing is there's a lot of stuff that players don't know, in terms of the decisions made and how they're made. There's metrics. There's all sorts of, it's like psychoanalytics. There's like a whole lots of shit. Even the skill-based matchmaking. There's all sorts of reasons behind a lot of those things that we'll never fully know. And that's probably why we don't agree with the situations. But yeah, Fortnite, I don't know. Something about that game. I want to throw $30 at a Batman skin.
Yeah, Fortnite's transcended gaming. Like it's transcended the battle royale that it used to be. Like, listen, I'm playing friggin' Rock Band-esque in Fortnite and I've got like Goku on vocals. Like,
yeah,
what is happening here? Like, this is insane. Yeah. It's like, I'm gonna talk about this really quick, but we did play, like I said, played some of that Fortnite Rock Band Guitar Hero side game, which I guess isn't really a side game. It's its own game that's going to be, taken care of and updated over the years, which is great. But it's just so funny. I just like, you can emote while you're on stage. Like I'm Goku's my character, so like I'm going Super Saiyan while on the stage during the performance. And they really got to add guitar controller support for that game because the button combos on Xbox controller at least are B and X and then right and left on the D-pad. So it kind of makes sense like once you go through a couple songs.
Yeah, because it's in a line there. I see.
Yeah, kind of. But man, I was struggling I was on easy doing the bass. I was slapping the bass. And
slapping the bass,
I was having fun until I was told to try the drums on medium, and your boy was struggling. My thumbs were not having a good time. They were feeling a little cramped after a few songs.
So I think I heard that Harmonix, so that's the company that basically made like Guitar Hero and DJ Hero and all those. Like I think they're in on that, aren't they?
I think so.
I think they're awesome. At least helping with it.
They have to, yeah.
I mean, I think this will lead to a full, if it's not already happening, a full Guitar Hero reboot, which would just be freaking amazing.
Oh yeah, I think
they another game that's just freaking fun, right? Doesn't take itself too seriously. It's just fun.
Dude, I loved it.
Go figure.
Dude, if Guitar Hero comes out, if they come out with a new Guitar Hero, like I'm having like a Guitar Hero party. Like everyone, bring over your 100%. Guitars. It'll be like a LAN, but with Guitar Hero.
But it needs to be like it used to be, not like the most recent one where it was like trying to be like hyper realistic. You know what I mean? Like, no, I don't want to actually think I don't want to try to play the real Guitar Hero. I want to play a plastic guitar and I want to feel like I'm Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, just give me Guitar Hero 3 again with a mix of modern and classic songs. And then, but give me like a healthy amount of songs. Give me like, I don't know, 30 songs to choose from. Is that too much?
Bro, here you go. This is what they'll do. They're going to sell you song packs.
That's fine. Just give me enough bass. Yeah. Listen, I bought the Halo 2. They had the Halo 2 one of the Halo 2 songs on Guitar Hero 3, I think. I bought that. I played the crap out of that.
Yeah.
The Breaking Benjamin song. One. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Blow Me Away, awesome. I think. Or no, it was the Mjolnir mix from Halo 2. Yeah. Sick. It's my biggest complaint with the Fortnite version is that they only give you like 10 songs. And there's some good songs in there, but like 3 or 4 of them are like Epic originals, so they're not real songs. They're just songs that were made by Epic.
I think this is I honestly think this is a proof of concept.
You think so?
I think this is their basically their research. Let's see how much demand is there for something like this, and then they'll make a standalone.
Dude, Guitar Hero is a huge IP. This is more like Rock
It
Band
was,
than Guitar Hero.
but it did fall off because it became a fad and a trend. But
Right.
it's been long enough, bring it back. But anyway, I could go down that rabbit hole. But Derick, you give us what's been on your mind here.
Yeah, so I don't actually do a ton. So I've got a big list of all the little things I've done. So I guess our last one of these episodes where we didn't have like a scheduled topic was, I think, before Thanksgiving. So in the last, month and a half, I have finished 2 anime series. The first one is Fruits Basket.
Yeah.
If you know what this one is, you would probably know that this is not what I would typically go for. But this was a anime whose name I had been hearing for years. And it seemed like one that, if it gets brought up so much, I might as well fucking watch it. So I did. It's like a love polygon type thing where, everyone's in love with everybody. Like, you got to figure out what's going on there. There's a family that's got mystical powers, and the main character is trying to help them with that whole situation. The main character is a high school girl who's like, what I wrote down here was aggressively positive and wholesome, which was honestly a little bit annoying to begin with. But I think over the course of most of the series, I actually did grow to like her because, all the characters love her. So they tell you why. And you're like, yeah, I guess she is kind of great, though.
She's all right. Yeah. Every anime like that, like a slice of life anime like that, has that character in it. And it's always, same cycle. Like, oh, this character's annoying as hell. And then they grow on you. Sometimes they reveal like some tragic backstory or something behind them, and you're like, oh,
yep.
I love this character now.
I'm a sucker for cliches, so when stuff like that comes up, I'm like, all right, I'll give you a pass, Toru Honda. I'm not super thrilled with the ending. I understand why it ended that way, but I just that's not how I thought that it would end.
Did you do any research on the ending? Like, is that the general consensus is that people don't like the ending?
No, I've done no research at all whatsoever.
Okay.
I actually don't typically research stuff like that. Unless there's something like really confusing, or if there's something that like jumped out at me as like a possible Easter egg. That's really the only time I ever like look stuff up after the fact.
Yeah, you're better off, honestly. It gets toxic. Anime fandoms are hit or miss, as you know.
Yeah, I just tend not to engage with the internet in general. The other one that I just finished yesterday, actually. It was K-On! So this is the light music club. 5 girls that play in a high school band. What I wrote down here was that it's wholesome with lovable main characters. I thought going into it was going to be a little bit more like Bocchi the Rock, which was, I think, another one that I brought up in a past episode, maybe an anime episode. Mm-hmm. Like, I was expecting them to struggle a little bit more with actually playing music, and that I thought it'd be hearing a little bit more music, but no dice there. I have caught myself singing a bunch of the songs just kind of in my head, like randomly while doing chores or like cooking. So it's definitely, it's got some music, but I don't know what it is that I expected from it.
Well, I mean, I haven't watched it, but just the thumbnail for the show is like them playing instruments, right?
Yeah.
So you would think like, oh, this is a show about music and a band. So unfortunately, it sounds like that's not necessarily the case.
It is and it isn't. I can't put my finger on what I felt was missing from it, but regardless, I did like it. Like
That's good.
by the start of the second season, like anytime any character popped up on screen, like the internal feeling was like, I just want them to be happy. I just want them to succeed.
Yeah, I
But
think
that was a real fun watch.
I think the slice of life anime genre is your favorite genre.
Yep, that's about where I'm at.
The feel good stuff.
Yeah, especially recently.
There's some other ones I can show you.
In my currently watching list, I've got Jujutsu Kaisen, which this season has been rough.
It's been emotionally rough, but the episodes are fire. But
yeah,
don't get that twisted. But yeah, it's been taxing.
I think what I told you was that I missed the days of like the ending credits of the main cast just dancing. Everything seems so carefree or learning about stuff. And now I'm lucky to make it through the end of the episode in one piece.
Yeah.
But that's going great. And I know this is something that I talked to you about, Ryan, but one of my favorite exercises when starting a new anime is, where the hell do I know this voice actor from?
Oh, yeah. You love that.
Yeah, specifically in this one, right? Kugisaki Nobara.
Mm-hmm.
Is the same voice actress as Hori Kyoko from the original Horimiya, the Hori-san to Miyamura-kun, the 6 episodes that we tried to watch literally last night, but we fell asleep on the couch.
Oh yeah, well yeah, and now since I have watched Horimiya and I'm all caught up on JJK. If you know, you know. It just added to the despair I felt. I'm going to leave it at that in case people don't want spoilers, but yeah.
Another one I'm watching is Overtake, still current on that, or relatively current on that. Now that it's the Formula One off season, it's nice to get a little bit of racing into my weekend schedule again. Specifically Suzuka, since they're based in Japan, it's nice to see the Japanese track in animated form.
Nice.
I'm still keeping up with Spy Family. This season started off kind of slow with some filler, but I love that we get to see a lot more of Yours Double Life. And more so than in other arcs, I think Anya pulled her weight during this, cruise ship arc as well. Ryan, I know you're back on Spy Family, so I'm not going to give away too much. But
yeah, I've got to watch the new season. Honestly, I haven't really heard anything about it besides you. But I'm excited to watch because I do like that show. But my one gripe with it is that I do feel like there's a lot of filler episodes. And actually and I'm glad to hear that there's more Yor action this season because I feel like that was lacking in season 1 a lot. Like her introduction was awesome, and then like we didn't really revisit that. Although the tennis episode is still one of my favorite episodes of all time.
Oh, for sure. I think I've got like 2 GIFs saved from that. Another one was Gurren Lagann. I think we started this 2 weeks ago. I started this with Ryan. We got
it was last weekend.
Watch this. It was last weekend.
Yeah.
God.
Last Saturday, I think.
My perception of time is just fucked right now.
It's all good.
So we watched, I think, like 13 episodes, like half of it basically, and then I finished K-On! So I am ready to pick this one back up. And the last one is Frieren, Beyond Journey's End. I know that a lot of people love this one. I've heard people rave about it. It's only 13 episodes deep or something like that right now. I started it over Thanksgiving when I was staying at my parents' house, and I will probably continue this over Christmas when I am also at my parents' house. A little bit of an existential crisis in the first episode to kick it off, but I did like the concept there.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't know about that because we tried watching it last night and I fell asleep in the I think after the credits. After the opening credits rolled, I was out.
Yeah. My boy didn't even meet Himmel the hero, which is when I turned on the Horizon to Mirakun. Anyway, as far as movies go, I did do my homework.
Oh, you did?
Thank you.
Nice.
Christmas with the Kranks.
Yes.
I was very surprised that the mom was like 100% down and committed to the plan of going on vacation on this cruise and like 100% into it, like hiding in the house, like driving out of the garage with the car already started, like not making eye contact. And then as soon as the daughter was like, yo, I'm gonna be home, she like turned on her husband basically. Like,
fast.
I was like, no, this is his idea, like it's his fault. But I definitely liked this one.
It's not a great movie, so to speak, but it's a great Christmas movie, and like it has like that the kind of humor I can dig, which is like that shitty dad humor, and it's just like a lot of one-liners kind of, and I like Tim Allen, so yeah, it's good, and yes, it's a terribly unrealistic like dynamic between the husband and wife, but I think that's kind of what makes it funny. It's a good thing. I watch it every year.
The one thing was the Botox scene that you brought up in a
so funny
prior episode where he's trying to chew the fruit or whatever and just falling out of his mouth. Great. Hilarious. His face moved pretty much like for the rest of the movie. Like the Botox is only there for that scene.
Yeah,
he was
it wore off
he was
quickly.
just fine. Okay, all right, cool.
That was funny. Yeah, that is probably like I said. I think that is by far my favorite scene in the movie. I think the other one, like again, it's like really stupid, but I like when like he's talking on the phone in his office and then like he looks the other way and the phone falls into his shirt pocket.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why that's so funny. It's just like it's
that's
just
such
very
a niche moment.
Yeah, it's just like very Tim Allen humor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I grew up watching Home Improvement with Tim Allen, and I just find like the humor to be like, very much kind of like the same, just like, just like total dad
same man,
humor.
different universe.
Yeah. But it's a good movie. It's a good movie. I'm trying to think. Okay, so one of the cops is Gary Busey's son.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, the taller one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so Cheech Marin, right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so that's recognizable. I'm trying to think of any like kind of fun facts. Go ahead.
Does this side discussion, not really, but that burglar they pick up, like, what does he? The only reason he's in the movie is to help delay the daughter getting to the house. Like, he steals shit, but like nothing ever comes of that, right? Like.
Well,
they get it back.
Well, yeah, they get it back, but like, it wasn't like a big plot point or anything. Like,
I think part of it is like to sort of somewhat like right before the reveal happens. I don't want to spoil anything, but to show like who that Santa Claus guy is.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. I think it's like a little bit like that, but it's again, there's like a lot of just random shit in that movie, but it's just.
That was that seems so cheesy, but I love it. Like, there's so many movies that do that. Where like, oh, this unsuspecting person is actually Santa Claus.
Yeah. How does he know what I like?
Right. He's just like a weird. I don't know. He didn't give me like Santa Claus vibes at all.
Yeah, no. I did end up putting it together myself, and I was like, oh, he just knows everybody's name. Like, this has got to be a thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for that. The ending where with the old couple across the street.
Yeah.
That was sweet.
It is a good story. It's touching, but I guess the main lesson here is don't borrow your neighbor's Christmas tree with the ornaments on it already.
Baby's first Christmas.
Of course it was. Of course. And then the hickory honey ham, and she almost dies. The 18-wheeler.
That's nuts.
I can't see
But-
that ham tasting that good. I don't know. It's
There's a canned
you don't
ham.
know that.
weird packaging, man. It's weird packaging.
And then, like, I just think it's funny because that movie's like early 2000s. So, like, obviously there's a lot of stuff that dates it. But, like, when she pulls out a checkbook at the grocery store,
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, that shit's hilarious.
And the other movie that I watched for homework, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yes.
I think that if I had watched this when I was younger, it probably would have been easier for me to love.
Oh no.
I wasn't really able to get into this one that much.
Okay.
I think like maybe halfway through, like once his cousin-in-law showed up in the RV,
Yeah.
everything kind of felt slow to me, and I'm like, I'm not even like halfway through this movie. Damn. So that's
I feel like it is a
about
long
how it went
movie.
for me.
Yeah, it's a weirdly long movie, but
What's the
Hour
runtime on that?
44.
oh, really? That's it? It seems longer, but
I feel like a Christmas
Yeah,
movie
it's-
should be like a tight 90 minutes, like no more than that.
80.
Yeah.
80
yeah.
to 90
80
minutes.
to 90. Yeah.
Yeah, Cranks is like probably 75, something like that. It's
That
it's
sounds
not
right.
long.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a Christmas
But-
movie should be like over and you're thinking like, oh, it's already over. Like that's how it should go.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But
Well-
yeah, this one just a little difficult to get into.
Listen,
which
I do.
is rough because I know that this is like a beloved movie, so it makes me want to like it more, but I just couldn't get into
Do
it. I
you
don't know.
do you not like
Can't
the
help it.
like? Is that not your kind of humor? Like the Chevy Chase kind of humor?
It normally is, and I think that's probably why they lost me halfway through, because most
Mm.
of the Chevy Chase humor is like front loaded, right?
Sure,
Like
yeah.
the Christmas lights, the
Yeah,
being electrocuted, the ice through the window, the forgetting a saw, so you have to put the whole tree on the car. But like after that, it was just like, I don't know. Well, cat getting fried. Like
Yeah.
that was really it. And like from then on, it was just like normal hijinks. I don't know.
yeah. No, I mean, I'll admit, like it's a movie I've seen like way, way, way too many times. So like, it doesn't do it as much as it, maybe when I was younger. Because I actually remember getting this for Christmas one year on VHS.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I can, I'll be honest, I can kind of see where you might not like it, but it's definitely one for me. I mean, I'm not going to watch it any other time of year, but
Right.
I got to see it once. That's it.
Yeah. So I'm glad that I at least seen it once.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go. That's all you
front
need to
to
do.
back.
Now, but you still haven't watched the #1 Christmas movie with Santa Claus in it?
Which
Die
one?
Hard?
Oh, I've still seen Die Hard.
Oh, you
that's-
haven't?
I think
Okay.
it's Ryan.
That's
that hasn't
me.
seen Die Hard.
That's a me
okay.
problem.
Did you do your homework?
I did not do my homework, but for good reason, because apparently it's playing at the local theater down at home. So I'm thinking it would be weird for them not to keep it going through Christmas. So when I'm down home for Christmas, I think I may go check that out in the theater with Pops and
Do it.
have a good father son bonding experience watching
There you go. Watching Santa Claus do his thing.
Yeah, that's still up for debate, but I'll watch it and report back my findings.
Cool.
Derek, you still have to watch Jingle All the Way, so don't forget that.
That was not part of my homework, but I did
He's
want to
seen
watch it.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Oh, you have seen it. Okay, never mind. I thought
But,
someone.
Wait, what was
real
my
quick,
homework?
I know
I don't
we're
remember.
getting long in the tooth here. Let me run through some of the games I've played. I think
Go
I
for
mentioned recently that me and Petron play a lot. Friend of the show, Petron. Our third has been getting online a lot more recently, so we've been grinding some Counter-Strike 2, building up our elos. I started around like 4.7k, which is aggressively low. And now I'm back to like 11.7k, which I think is like about midway through all
Okay.
the people who play ranked or premier ranked. I'm still playing Rocket League. I'm shaking off the rust in threes because rotations are different in threes and twos and ones. That's fun. It's really funny to try to go up for aerials and be so bad that you just whiff, and fly all the way by the ball and get scored on because of it. So that's that's still fun. And I've been playing Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora.
Oh,
Holy.
I've heard mixed things about that.
It is visually stunning.
That's what I've heard.
I think that I love the style of RPG that it is. Like it reminds me of all the good RPGs I've played over the years. I'm only about like 3 hours in. We had to get through a lot of the tutorial to play co-op mode, me and Petron. But we finally got into co-op mode, played a few missions there. But because the world is so vibrant, there's like a bunch of HDR that you need to use or whatever. Like it's so colorful and vibrant that it actually gives us both headaches after playing for too long. So we can only really play like an hour at a time. I mean, we are in our 30s, so that's
true.
That's rough.
The eyes ain't what they used to be.
Yeah.
No, that game looks so sick.
I also played a round of disc golf with Ryan. First one in a long time.
You played very well.
Yeah, I got close to my personal best, which for me is great. After like 2 to 3 months of really not playing, to get within 2 strokes of my personal best at what is effectively my home course, fantastic.
Yeah, I did
also
not play well.
went bowling, which is something that I mentioned on a recent Off the Clock. We played like 2.5 games. I'm normally like a 117 average. But the first game I bowled a 120 something, and the second game I bowled a 140 something.
Yeesh.
So it's great. The third game we got like the little warning. It's like you have 15 minutes left. So all 8 of us were just trying to, huck the ball down there, figure it out. So I think I barely broke. I think I got 101 that game. So I don't think anyone's really counting that game. But that is what I have been doing.
Wait, you just said you don't do a lot. That was just like 10 times more shit than I had.
This is the last, month and a half?
Fair.
And
You're not
what it
doing
boils
nothing.
down to is I sat on my couch for most of that, and I played disc golf once.
Hey, that's doing something. And you went bowling. Hey, that's still something,
There we go.
All right,
Well, that is what we have been doing. If you want to keep up with us, you can follow us on Instagram at 5 o'clock sweats. On X, we are at 5 o'clock sweats. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Anything else, boys?
Go see Godzilla Minus One.
Fair. I might do that.
Refer back to the first 20 minutes of the episode if you want to know why. But yeah, go see it, please. And Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays again.
Yes.
For show.
I don't know why I said yes. Like I was
yes.
Weird ASMR daddy. But
yes. Wait, who was? Oh wait, remember the character from Land Before Time that would say yes?
Ducky.
Yeah. Dude, you're doing.
I thought you were going to take the sad turn for that. Oh boy.
Wait, what's the sad turn?
Oh, we're looking it up after the episode. So we're just going to we're going to sign off right here. Well, like Ryan said, happy holidays. Happy New Year. That's coming up. And as always,
stay sweaty.
Yeah, it's not good.
Well, shit, that's really fucking depressing. I had no idea that even was a thing. No, I'm not gonna be able to watch that movie. I mean, that movie's already sad.
Yep.
To begin with.
Yep.
Stop. That movie's already so depressing, but now knowing that as context, like, fuck, man. She sounded so cute and young and innocent. Like,
Yep.
the fuck, man.